You get a deeper understanding of the causes behind a political issue if you approach it through art sometimes. Sometimes.
Simple question, simple answer, but does not work.
The fence is not stopping anybody.
It was a bad idea to put the wall. It was perfectly fine the way it was.
It damages the land, it damages the people, it causes harm.
This is one of the consequences.
I think by turning the fence into a character is kind of a masterstroke in a way. Because the idea of two kinds of places or land masses or people living side by side but not touching is really, really tragic to me and doesn't make any sense to me. That these fences and these borders that we create in our heads are also what we create externally. And to me, that's what this is a massive symbol of is fear, misunderstanding, whatever, their internal lines that we're trying to erase in order to bring people together. That's very important, not just in the US and Mexico, as this fence is, but in all over the world. I think that these borders are causing more trouble than good. And I'm happy to celebrate that through photography and through journalism and through a very human touch that he's put in this film. It's told through amazing imagery and through anecdotes that are not as like brutal as you would imagine. Some of them are quite light. The first one especially is a very lighthearted story about love, and it's a very clever trope to use that, because it makes you feel at ease, and it makes you look at a very complex problem in a very new way.
Across Honduras and across Mexico, so I feel that I can walk on to Florida. That's basically why I am camped out here now. I was hoping this might happen again. If I think back, I should have offered to marry her because she was such a beautiful woman.
And he tells the rest of it through atmosphere, really. It's a feeling that he's transcribed with photography more than anything else. I mean, there isn't really a very obvious arc as such, but he exposes the absurdity of this fence beautifully. He has done that with some text, but also through a mood that he's created, which is very, very delicate and very, very smart and special. I think it was one of the best looking films I've seen in a very long time.
Since she had last been seen alive, the day that we found her, February 20th of 2008. We're walking down the canyon. I saw some green shoes on the ground. I called out, seeing if anyone was there. And that's where her body was.
That's what great art does. That's what great films do. They kind of prick a little bit in your mind that isn't often touched. And that can let things out, like a little steam valve almost, that illuminate other things. Imagine that steam was full of glitter, and the glitter came out on other issues in the world that you don't often think about or recognize. And you start to see things a little bit differently sometimes. When it's good and effective and emotional, it does have an impact, subtly, subconsciously perhaps, but it's there. And that's very, very important, because you're surrounded by just noise and things that are meaningless all the time. But this is very meaningful, I think. And that's how I felt after I watched it.